Military strategy has historically conquered 5 distinct arenas. It began with the struggle for land, moved into maritime dominance of the sea, took to the air, reached into orbital space, and most recently expanded into the digital networks of cyberspace. Each evolution rendered the previous battlefield vulnerable. Artillery outranged the sword, and cyber warfare now targets infrastructure without firing a single bullet. But we have reached a physical limit. With every external geography mapped and every digital network fortified, state powers are looking for a new place to exert control. This shift represents the 6th domain. As this visualization shows, the focus has moved from external territory to internal consciousness. Human neurology is being mapped and integrated into the global grid. Modern conflict is moving past the destruction of bodies or buildings. The new objective is the invisible manipulation of the human mind. Alexei Ivanov was an unlikely candidate for this type of scrutiny. He lived in San Francisco, working as a developer for financial algorithms and enjoying a life of comfortable American assimilation. Though born in Russia, he came to the US as a small child. He didn't speak the language, he followed no political causes, and he had no intelligence connections. His life changed because of a single link. He messaged a friend a link to a song by a censored Russian rapper, an artist designated as a foreign agent by the state. Weeks later, a high-pitched tone landed like a physical weight inside his skull. A voice began to whisper. It spoke in accented English, reciting his home address, his employer's name, and his mother's maiden name. That one digital interaction had tripped a state-level alarm. Alexei was now the focal point of a classified operation designed to test the limits of remote consciousness manipulation. This hardware represents the threshold of modern neuro-interfacing. The GRU had advanced this concept into a quantum phone to the consciousness, a system capable of instantaneous, undetectable access to a target's neurological processes. The operators used this link to induce 7-day cycles of forced insomnia. By monitoring his biometrics in real time, they could trigger deafening noises and physical nausea the moment his brain attempted to rest. During the few moments he did sleep, the assault shifted. Operators flooded his REM cycles with linguistic cues, attempting to reactivate the Russian language pathways that had been dormant since his childhood. These traditional Chuvash costumes represent the heritage the GRU tried to weaponize. They injected engineered dreams of cultural loyalty into his subconscious, attempting to rewrite his identity into one that served the motherland. Alexei sought help from doctors and intelligence agencies, but his descriptions of invisible voices led only to a diagnosis of bipolar I with psychosis. He was involuntarily institutionalized and placed on high-dose antipsychotics. The strength of this weapon lies in its mimicry. By producing symptoms identical to severe mental illness, it turns a target's own medical and social support systems into a cage. The turning point arrived through a single syllable. During a whispered threat, the voice in Alexei's head said, "everywhere," stressing the middle syllable in a way no native English speaker ever would. This rhythmic error matched a specific Russian linguistic pattern. Alexei recognized the stress pattern of a non-native speaker and stopped interpreting the voices as a symptom of a breakdown. He began treating the whispers as data. He built a cognitive firewall, mentally tagging incoming commands as injected, the same way a computer identifies malware. By categorizing the intrusions, he regained control over his own internal narrative. He then moved to a counter-strategy. He relearned Russian to better decode the operator's intent and began feeding truth viruses, facts about the war and the program, back through the connection to influence the people monitoring him. Identifying that one phonetic slip transformed Alexei from a patient into a combatant. He was no longer a victim of a hallucination. He was an operative fighting on an internal front line. This conflict highlights a unique shift in power. While a state's resources usually overwhelm individuals in physical domains, here a massive intelligence apparatus failed to break a single civilian. If a mind refuses to be recruited or broken, a billion-dollar psychological operation loses all its leverage. The individual remains the final point of resistance. Constant exposure to the quantum link led Alexei to perceive his situation as part of a larger probabilistic map. He viewed the geopolitical tension between Russia, China, and the West as a series of branching paths. some leading to escalation and others to cooperation. To force a favorable outcome, Alexei produced a document that mapped the program's entire architecture. He channeled his gathered intelligence into a screenplay that detailed the device's mechanics, its limitations, and the identities of its operators. This single act neutralized the weapon's effectiveness. By putting the details on the record, he stripped away the secrecy the program requires to function against other targets. The sixth domain will continue to expand as technology further integrates with human neurology. The boundaries between thought and data are becoming increasingly porous. Alexei's experience serves as a case study for this new environment. It shows that defense isn't about matching the adversary's hardware, but about the clarity of one's own perception. Even against a system designed to rewrite the subconscious, a fortified identity remains a barrier. When the mind is anchored by truth and resilience, it remains the one place no state can truly conquer.